Guys, we're getting back around to this Revo Ness, which honestly I think is one of the better thought out knives I've gotten to see in a long time. And I was kind of put off by it at first, just based on aesthetics, but this thing's absolutely awesome. Let's turn this around and take a look at it from above.
All right, guys, you heard me in the intro. Love this knife. This is the Revo Knives Ness. Now, this is not a small pocket knife. We'll get into some specs and stuff here in a little bit, but this is a 14C28N blade, blue micarta handles. It's a liner lock. This thing absolutely cut really well. So before we get into the specs and stuff, you can see I did a lot of cutting with this. This is only a portion of the cutting I did over the course of it being here. And the edge on it held up really, really well. 14C28N does a great job, and it cuts well. So we'll get into some of that. So let's look at some specs real quick. So you're looking at, just to get this out of the way, 8-inch overall length with a blade length of 3.3, actually 3.4 inches when you round it up. This one is in 14C28N. There's various versions. Some of them are in D2 and stuff like that. I'm going to put a link to it down below because this is only right now like $69 if I remember correctly. It's done in a stonewash, full flat grind 14C28N blade. The handles on this in that blue G10, not only attractive, that is so comfortable. So surprised how unusual it is, but still comfortable. It is a flipper only. I mean, you can get on it. It does have a broad enough blade. You can get on it and flick it off, but you're in a weird position. It is right hand and left hand ambidextrous, and it's only coming in at 4.9 ounces for a relatively large knife. Now, I can give you the size spec all day, and you really don't have a point of reference. So we break out the three knives we always use for a visual comparison. Your first one is Spyderco PM2. A lot of you guys are going to know that as a size reference. You can see it's bigger than the PM2. So your next knife is the Benchmade 940, probably one of the, if not the most well-known knives in the knife community. So there you go. That's a pretty good size reference. And then, as always, your final knife is Chris Reeves Sbenza Large 21. You can see as a size reference, this is not a small knife. This is a big, broad, beefy knife. So let's go ahead and get these out of the way and start talking about the good stuff and the bad stuff about this knife. So with all the specs and everything out of the way, this is an incredible knife. So it's got this big, broad Nessmuk style blade, which is, it's kind of like a leaf shaped blade with a large hump here, completely flat ground to a beautiful behind the edge thickness on this 14C28N steel on this, which is, I think, a steel that more companies need to go back to and start using because it's very, very versatile, holds up really well. It is, in my opinion, one of the better steels in the knife industry, even though a lot of people think it's a budget steel, which kind of is, but it cuts so well. It takes a good edge at any, pretty much any grit you want. Beautiful stonewash on this that has masked a lot of the abuse that I have dished out to this knife because I cut with this so much. Now, where this really shines is how it feels in hand, because it is a unique looking handle on this. So you've got this broad handle, and like I said, it looks like Captain Caveman's club from the Flintstones, to tell you the truth. But once you get your hand on it, it just melts. It's buttery. The pocket clip is absolutely not a hot spot. So it's done with blue micarta scales on top of steel liners, and you've got really good access to the lock bar. It is a flipper only, like I said, but I showed you can reverse flick off of the flat. It's not as easy as some other knives because you got to get into a unique position. But if it's just the fidgety thing you're looking for, but when you get into this grip, it just wants to cut. It's like several of the other knives I've had recently that I'm starting to really love these gentle radius blades because you get a lot of bang for your buck. You can do a lot of the things that you would do with a Wharncliffe pretty much with this, because even though this has got a radius, it doesn't really drop off and get too steep until you get up to this point. So you got a lot of area you can use for planing and things like that. If that's what you want to do for doing feather sticking. The grind on it is done really, really thin. So it just screams through like material like cardboard and stuff like that, which, let's be honest, that's what most of us are going to cut. You've got this thick area here where you're like pinched in, and then you can get your thumb in here and it just drops into the cut at a beautiful angle, and it's super comfortable. No fatigue in cutting because you've got this nice broad handle that fills your hand, and it allows you to grip it here and not feel like you just don't feel like you're going anywhere on this knife. Super secure. And because of the shape of the handle, you don't need jimping, which I dig a knife that is done without jimping. I don't like jimping. I don't find jimping attractive. And the fact that it doesn't have any just makes it a really attractive knife. The action on it, really good. I have not even taken this apart to change out lubricants on this. Typically I do that to give a knife its best possible chance, but I didn't need to. The action on it is just really well done. Pocket clip is a deep carry pocket clip that allows you to carry this larger knife a little bit forward in the pocket and not have to worry about, even though it's got this large area here, it doesn't dig into your side or anything like that. It frees up some space in your pocket. The pocket clip in and out of pocket is great, even with these lines here that have been milled in that give you it gives you that tactile grip on it. You can definitely feel it. It's not over the top, but it doesn't interfere with in and out of the pocket. It does not tear up pockets. And then I'm not a big fan usually of a lanyard hole, but doing it this way, really, I think that like cutting the material away, at first I didn't like this. Cutting the material away does give it a nice look. It is attractive. And then it doesn't, as the guys at Revo Knives said, if you put a lanyard on it, it doesn't add to the, if you use a thin lanyard, it's not adding to the thickness of the knife overall, which is why they said they did it. And I understand that. It makes sense. And then nice milled out area for the pocket clip, which means that this thinner pocket clip on this deep carry pocket clip does not move back and forth. It doesn't slide around like some other knives do. And it's milled nice and deep so that it's in that pocket nice and tight, so you don't have to worry about it getting broken loose or anything like that if it was milled in thin. Now, I had mentioned that I didn't like the jimping on the flipper tab, and I still don't. That's definitely something I still don't like, but I understand why they did it. I was talking to them, and they definitely did it so that if you're wearing gloves, it's easier to hit that lock bar because you've got pretty good access with the jimping on it, even though they didn't take out a lot of material on this side. So it does make sense. I'm still not a big fan of it, but at least it's not real sharp. I think I would have gone without that. Like I would like to see an option where you could get it without, but at any rate, I understand why it's there and it's not over the top. Now, with any knife, there's a couple things I'm not a big fan of, and we'll talk about those in just a second.
Because you've heard me talk about Coffee Brand Coffee a bunch of times. I'm going to do it again real quick. Coffee Brand Coffee is a channel sponsor. They are a great company sponsoring small channels like mine, but they also are a guilt-free purchase because they do not practice any politics. They have a money-back guarantee, and they roast their coffee on demand. So if you're interested in it, my link down below in the videos saves you 10% at checkout, sometimes more depending on what they've got going on as far as specials and sales. So go check them out. Great product. Thank you very much for sponsoring the channel, Coffee Brand Coffee. Let's get back to the knife.
So nothing big on this at all. There's only a couple small things. This is a big, broad knife, and it takes up a lot of space in your pocket that I typically don't, as much as I like the way they cut, it poses a problem for me a lot of times because I have to carry more than one item because I'm reviewing a lot of stuff, and this just takes up so much space in my pocket. Not that I can't carry two knives, but then I can't put anything in my pocket. I would have to take either this knife or whatever other knife I'm carrying out of my pocket to reach whatever is down in my pocket. So they can kind of render your actual pocket kind of useless if you're carrying anything else in there, like keys or change. You need to get to change. The plunge grind is really close. You can see it here. It's really close on that, and you can see already there's a little bit of a smile that's starting to form, and some wider bevel there, which means that part of the knife's going to get blunter. And then you're going to just ram your stones into this. This could have come out a little bit further, or this plunge could have been brought back further since they were doing a full flat grind. And then the final thing really on it is that the pocket clip it's great to have that that reversible pocket clip, But for a knife like this, where you're going to be carrying it, and this is kind of more of an outdoor style knife, you're going to get stuff down in there and it's going to plug up those threads, because some people do like to switch from right-handed to left-handed with some of these knives. So just a plate and a couple screws would have filled those up. But I mean, all in all, great knife, especially at the price. I think right now with the link I've got, it's like $69. MSRP is usually like 95 or 99. I can't remember. Pretty sure it's 95, but it's on the box. But at any rate, is it a yup or a not? It's a yup. This is one I would recommend. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not getting anything from the company for this. This came from Jared, so it's not like it's not like I'm getting paid to do a review here. So just the fact it cuts so well, like you saw in the footage, guys. Oh, one last thing I meant to mention. I think if this was mine, I would probably knock this down just a little bit. I would put this on a grinder and like maybe split that right to there. It does catch on a couple things. Just something that you may want to think about. Like that has scuffed a couple things and I scratched my car with it. But in the big scope of things, not a big deal. Guys, let's turn this around.
There you go, guys. Like I said, just a really great all-around knife. That if it wasn't so comfortable, I think the comfort in hand and the way it feels in hand with these unique handles is what really sets it out from the pack. Like, I definitely do dig this. And like I said, they're not expensive. There's a link down below if you want to pick one up and try it out. They definitely put some thought into how this fits in your hand and how it's going to cut. So, but you know, make your own decisions. And people like to say that I always give every knife a good review. It's not true. The reason is you don't see a lot of the really bad ones. So I just don't feel it's fair to bash a company just because I might not personally like a knife. If it's a bad knife, yeah, you'll definitely hear about it. So at any rate, guys, that's it on this one. You know what to do. There's a sponsored link down below for Coffee Brand Coffee, Temper Trail, and Doll Strong Knives. Temper Trail and Coffee Brand Coffee have a discount built into their link. Speaking of discounts, I have a coupon code of crazysharp, all one word, all lowercase, that will save you 40% at Beyond EDC, 10% at Fair and Forge Knife Works, 10% at KATSU Knives, and 10% at Rosecraft Blades. Go check those companies out. Use my coupon code. It'll help you out and save you a little bit of money. I have got an Amazon store down below that you can take and pin to your browser, use it for all your Amazon shopping. And if you're going to buy knives, I have got links to most of the major vendors and a lot of the companies that we talk about on this channel. If you're looking for a knife, use those links. It helps out the channel. I've also got a public Discord down below. It says join the community. Go check it out. Hang out there. I want to get that to be a robust community of people that can just hang out and have fun. You guys really aren't joining, so like it's free. I'm offering you something free. And I have got a paid membership service set up here on YouTube where I do exclusive content, I do giveaways, I do premium sharpening tutorial series, and there's a private Discord just for those guys. Guys, that's it on this one. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. I'll see you in the next video.